right, looks like we got a couple more people coming in, so just letting everybody know we're getting ourselves set. So feel free to come in. All the video and audio is disabled for everyone but the panel, but we will potentially be using it at the end if you're interested in sharing. Otherwise, there is a chat on the right-hand side. You can ask questions in. Bob Dirks, our host of Creating IT Futures Technologist Talk, is here. Awesome. So he did his introduction. Thank you for doing that. So feel free, RC or Bob. So feel free to do the same thing, you know, share where you work. Bob, where are you located? I forget. Put that in there. If you're outside of Minnesota, that would be nice to hear where you are. Chicagoland. Okay. So Bob from Chicago. Thank you, Bob. It's nice to know who's actually out there. Blank wall of us and then nothing else. So awesome. Shafie, just checking. We had one panelist who is still getting on. He was having some video issues. So we'll just give him a minute. But if you're just getting on, there you are. Hey, how's it going?
Yes, I'm late, but I am ready.
Yes, we haven't officially started yet, so you're good to go.
But now that you're here, we can. So
yeah,
you are the party.
Yeah, exactly. And our number is climbing, so that's awesome. If you just got on, don't worry about sharing video or audio. We made it in Q&A, but for right now, we're just focusing on the panelists. The chat side, we already have RC or Bob sharing some information. Oh, hey, Megan from General Assembly in Minneapolis. Awesome. Are you an employee or a student? So yeah, you can share your name, where you work, and location if outside Minnesota or in Minnesota, that's fine. Because we'd love to know who's out there. But anyways, yeah, so, and if you have questions throughout that you'd like the panel to answer, feel free to pop those in, or even you know, questions just for me that I can answer on the chat. I'll do that too. Oh, cool. So Megan is community manager for Minneapolis and Louisville. Hey. Oh, hi, David. Success, Shafie's company. Awesome. Well, cool. I could sit here and talk all day, but I will get us started and then kick it over to the panel. So welcome to our panel. It's called Success Stories, How Interest in Workforce Equity and Record Unemployment Can Narrow the Tech Skills Gap. A long title. But basically, my name is Kirschner, and I'm a career services manager for CompTIA Tech Career Academy, and I am based in Minneapolis. We're across the U.S., but I am based here, and I'm really excited to be part of Twin Cities Week again. I've been involved a couple of years with our organization. Yeah, the thing we're going to be talking about today is the success stories of our job training programs and how that can narrow the skills gap. And at CompTIA Tech, our mission is to unlock people's potential, helping them launch and grow their careers in technology. So we train and prepare adults for certification and success in technical jobs to help address the industry shortage of skilled tech workers. But our sole motivation is to help students land and thrive in tech to grow the technology workforce. So today we're going to hear some of these success stories from our graduates and one of our employer partners. So if you're interested in learning more about the program, either as a potential student, employer partner, or whatever else, feel free to check out CompTIA, which is COMPTIA, tech.org, or you can feel free to find me on LinkedIn. My name is Kate Kirschner, and I will drop my link in here as well, along with my email. Now let's get this panel started. I'm going to introduce you to our wonderful moderator, Jade Denson, she is the Director of Member and Community Engagement at Minnesota Technology Association. So I'll let her introduce you to the panel.
Awesome. So first and foremost, Kate, thanks for having me and letting me moderate such an important discussion. Just to kind of level set for the group, this year we saw a lot happen in our community. Our country was flipped upside down because of a pandemic. We saw thousands of people lose their jobs. We've seen companies experience a reckoning and recognizing that they need to hire and recruit people who look like me and the panelists here today. And this conversation touches on all those things and really does talk about tangible ways to drive solutions in our community. Just to give you some context, while most industries were plummeting, technology and roles in tech actually became more important than ever. So during the time period between March and July, the information technology sector posted over 30,000 jobs, which is the highest of any sector. Specifically, there were points throughout the pandemic, well, it's still happening now, where software engineers and security analysts were in more demand during the pandemic than before things started shutting down. So just for context, roles in technology are lucrative and they have a ton of longevity and can withstand things like what we're experiencing right now. So this conversation is really important to talk about how to train and hire untapped potential as a way to keep people employed, especially here in Minnesota. So I'm going to get out of the way a little bit and kick off the panel. So I want to hear from everyone. So we're going to start with you, Tom, and then we can kind of make our way down the screen. Introduce yourself, talk about where you work, a little bit about your organization and your current role. And because we have a lot to get to today, keep it as compact as you can, but give some context about who you are and where you work.
Yeah, hi everyone. My name is Tom. I work for a company called Tech Guru. We specialize in CPA firms, providing IT solutions and problem solving all IT needs. And we are based out of the Northeast Minneapolis region. And I've been there for about a year. I graduated from the IT Ready program, now called CompTIA Tech, and I couldn't be happier with my journey along the way.
Awesome. Jillayne, maybe we can just go down to you and then we'll pop back up.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, my name is Jillayne Berg. I am the Director of IT Operations Support at the Center for Diagnostic Imaging. I've been there for about 14 years and started in a first level support role and sort of worked my way up through the ranks. Now I have the, I would say probably first, second, and third level support at in IT at CDI, working with hardware applications, and our one thing that is unique to diagnostic imaging is, of course, our image viewers. And so I have a wide variety of support staff that I work with at CDI.
Awesome. So since we talked to Jillayne, let's go ahead to Muhamed. I think you're muted.
Can you guys hear me now?
We're good.
Sorry about that. My name is Mohammed Ibrahim. I am a graduate as well of the IT Ready program. I work at the Center for Diagnostic Imaging for Jillayne, and Jillayne happens to be my manager. I'm an enterprise support specialist. Just in the beginning of my IT career, and I'm excited to discuss my story, and I'm happy to be here. It's my pleasure to be here today.
Awesome. Shafie, you want to go ahead and introduce yourself?
Yeah, sure. Why not? So my name is Shafie. I went through the IT Ready program last year. I was also a cohort with Tom. I landed an internship at Success Computer Consulting for 3 months and got hired as a full-time remote support. And in here to be excited to talk about my experience about 1 year after the program, and also just advices of getting into the field as well.
Awesome. So for those that don't know, I guess no one knows, Shafie's special in that he was the first person hired at his respective company through this program. So we got an MVP on our hands here. All right. So Angela, last but certainly not least, introduce yourself. Yes.
Yes. Okay, great. I am a 2017 graduate of the CompTIA Academy program. I'm currently employed at Medtronic. Medtronic is a global leader in making medical devices such as pacemakers or devices to treat diabetes or pain therapy. I currently in the position of technical user support analyst. I support the users and the sales reps for any hardware or software related issues or problems.
Awesome. So we have a ton of experience represented on this panel today. And I kind of want to start with the origin of how we all know each other in some ways. Muhammad, can you take the first question of why did you apply to IT Ready and what was your experience in the program?
So my experience was I graduated college. I went to the University of Minnesota. I studied environmental science, and after college, I was just working, just dead end job to dead end job. I didn't really have a career. I wasn't able to get a job in the field I studied in. So I was working customer service. I was working at call centers. I was working at a warehouse. Working delivery. It was just, when I think about it now, I'm like, what was like, there was no like connection between the jobs that I was working. It was just like, let me try this, let me try this. So I was kind of, and it can be kind of discouraging. You see, all your friends and all your classmates that you went to school with, starting their careers, they're moving on, moving forward, and it's like, I haven't. I'm just kind of just going in a circle. So I have, two older brothers who've been working in IT for a while, and they kind of recommended. One of my brothers, I remember I sat with him one night, and he was kind of helping me. And it took months. I was, a few years I was applying to just an entry-level IT job with no luck, no success. And one day my brother showed me. He's like, you should try to apply for jobs on Craigslist. I was like, what? He's like, yeah, some recruiters still post jobs on Craigslist. I didn't believe him, but we came across an ad for the IT Ready program, and I couldn't believe it. And then I looked at like the date of the last day for submitting the application, and it was like it was literally like 11:30 at night, and it was like the day of the deadline. And I applied, but I didn't really have. I was just like, I kind of forgot about it because I was like, this program is too good to be true. There must be hundreds of applicants, and so fast forward a week or two, I hear from Karen, who works with the program, and she gave me a phone interview, and I'm just really blessed. 2 months later, 4 certifications later, I was able to get a job. I met Jillayne, and now I've been working.
The rest was history.
Yeah, I've been working at CDI for almost about a year now, and I'm really happy to start my career. And when Kate told me that there was going to be a panel discussion like this, I was so excited to be a part of it and just tell my story.
Awesome. So it sounds like shout out to IT Ready and Craigslist for this opportunity. Okay, that's fair. All right, so Jillayne, I'd love to kick it to you and really hear from the employer perspective. It makes sense why someone would say yes to this program to get into technology. But from the employer perspective, you are assuming a little risk in bringing people in who don't have kind of the stereotypical technology path. Why did you say yes to partnering with IT Ready, and why do you continue saying yes and bringing in folks from programs like these?
Yeah, I think looking back on the past several years at CDI, one of the things that has been a huge focus is hiring for diversity, right? Like we see how what the benefits are of hiring people with different backgrounds and different skill sets. And, so we really try to make an effort for that. But it's really tough in some areas of the country. And CDI has a national footprint. Our corporate offices are in Minnesota, and, Minnesotans do what Minnesotans do, and they stick to their, stick to their groups. Right. And so it is hard to just naturally hire for diversity. So any opportunity we can find to do that, I think I will pounce on it. And this is exactly what happened when we found IT Ready. I think actually how we found IT Ready is somebody had applied for another position in the company, and he did get it, but we, kind of went, wait a second, this seemed like a really neat program, and so we reached out, and I guess the rest is history here. I hired Muhamed and one more after him, and hopefully more in the future as well. So
awesome. So you spoke to the value of having people within your organization with different backgrounds. And we have someone on our very panel today, Tom, who had a really different background in finance, of all things, right? Numbers and all that stuff. So Tom, from your perspective as someone who was doing something completely different, what advice or perspective do you have for folks that want to transition and find their way into a career in technology? What do you have to say to them? What do you recommend? What should they be doing and thinking about?
Yeah, I think for myself, the biggest advice I could give to anyone trying to explore something new is finding that passion. If you're able to find that passion for something you love, like technology at a very young age, take some risks and jump on it, right? Coming out of college, with a finance degree, I found a decent paying job, but I just wasn't happy with what I was doing. I wanted to do something which felt meaningful. And when I heard about the IT Ready program, it was like, I got to do this, right? And I'm going to do this, and there's no going back, right? Technology is what I love, and it's finding that passion. If you're going to do it, just do it, give it a try, and, don't be afraid to fail. If you love doing what you do, just go ahead and do it.
Awesome. So Angela, you are in some ways the veteran of the group, and you did the program a few years back. Now that you've been in technology for some time, how do you stay current? I mean, technology is probably one of the most quickly changing industries we have. What do you do to stay current from when you took the course for IT Ready to now? What are things that you're doing?
Basically, what I've been doing is I try to
I think you're muted. There you go.
Can you hear me? Oh, sorry about that. So what I do is I try to attend a lot of technology seminars. I've attended through Target. They have a Women in Technology group. So I've attended a couple of those, been to some cybersecurity seminars. Microsoft does a Microsoft user groups if you want to stay on top of some of the Microsoft technologies. I attend a lot of those. I also do online class through LinkedIn. They have some classes, and also Udemy. They also have classes there. And then also through my job, we have online courses, and then also opportunities to do shadowing within other departments. So that's basically, and then also I'm on CNET. I'm on the web often, trying to stay up to date.
Wow, it's based on all the things you've said. It's like staying current's your second part-time job. That's awesome.
Yes,
okay,
yes.
Cool. So Shafie, your background in a lot of ways is pretty comparable to what a lot of people who go through IT Ready have. So you did some customer service, you did some machine assembly stuff, and it seems like that's a common thread for people who transition into technology using programs like IT Ready. How have you seen those skills be impactful for you? What are some of the transferable skills that you've got from customer service and machine assembly that you're leveraging in your career in technology now? Oh, there we go.
I was muted, by the way.
No, totally fine.
What was I gonna say? One thing though that did carry on from all my experiences was that the customer support was always there. It's something that built up even from working at a like a fast food to retail to machine assembling as well. Like where doing in IT, it's always about supporting the customer, just giving that customer service and making sure that that is right there, and it's basically just built off of the kind of maturity. I'm not sure how to say it in any other word, but it's something that I've seen myself kind of mature in.
Yeah. So being customer minded and the roles that you did prior to technology, something that's helped you in your current role right now.
Yep.
Awesome. So Jillayne, I want to zoom in on what he just said a little bit. So when thinking about skill set for hiring junior level talent, entry level talent into technology, what are things that you look for? It sounds like customer service background or being customer minded is helpful. What are other things that you look for in candidates in this type of pool?
Yeah, I think it's interesting because customer service is sort of at the top of the list, right? We can teach technology usually. Customer service is something that somebody who's really good at that is harder to come by naturally. So that is definitely something I look for. I think, really, especially for some of those first entry level IT positions, mostly I'm looking for somebody who's teachable, somebody who's willing to learn, somebody who's curious and is gonna ask questions, right? We've hired people in the past who are not the most technical when they start, but once you get in and if you're asking the right questions and you're, that was actually something that about Muhamed when he started is, he was asking a lot of questions and people notice that, right? They notice that he's engaged, that he's working at understanding the why behind what we do and not just what we do. So that's huge. That's I think probably one of the most important things that I look for.
Awesome. Muhamed, I'm curious. So it sounds like when you started at CDI, like your ability to ask questions and things like that made you stand out. But I want to zoom back a little bit to being hired even. So you finish IT Ready. Now you have to go on the job hunt. And of course, IT Ready helps you with that process. But at the end of the day, it's kind of on you to close the deal. So what do you think set you apart as a candidate? And why did Jillayne choose you, for lack of better words, as someone who's coming out of the IT Ready program? What are things that you did to stand out as an applicant?
Ask a lot of questions.
Okay.
I'm the type of person, if I don't understand, I know, just hearing from colleagues, a lot of friends are saying, fake it till you make it. But I'm not really good at faking it. If I don't 100% understand the concept or understand why it's being done, I don't think I'll be able to do the task, to the best of my ability. So asking questions. The nice thing about the interview I had with CDI when I was interviewing with them, it was a working interview, something I've never seen, but I think something a lot of companies should be doing, because it gave me a glimpse at what the team is like, what the position is like, and the nature of the position, and the team members also got an opportunity to see what I'm like. So it was really, really good, because a lot of times when you apply to a position, you kind of have an idea, but you're still in the dark. So that was something that really helped me, and it also it gave me opportunity to ask more questions. But definitely the IT Ready program really was kind of the launching pad for me getting into IT and starting my career in IT. I learned, just like Shafie, a lot of my soft skills came from just working in customer service, but I also learned a lot of things in the IT Ready program, making a LinkedIn, Kate helped me out with my resume, stuff like that. And all of that led to me landing this job, and I'm just really, really happy to be where I'm at today.
Awesome. So Angela, from what I know about you, you were one of 6 women in your IT Ready cohort, or was it one of 4? One of those 2.
One of
so
4.
Not very many.
Yeah.
Okay, one of 4. And I would imagine being a Black woman in technology, you're often one of few in a lot of spaces. So from your perspective, why is diversity and inclusion important to advance the industry of technology? And what role do you hope to play in helping that effort?
I think it's very important because you can get all aspects of different backgrounds incorporated within technology that would be missing if you did not have the diversity. And what I'm trying to do is, from that experience, I had an opportunity through CompTIA Tech Academy to do a volunteer with Tech Girls. So I had a chance to teach one of those courses, and seeing the young girls' faces and enthusiasm and excitement about technology. Because, a lot of girls may not think of going into that direction because it tends to be dominated by males. So I thought, oh my God, this is the ticket here to target younger girls, to get them excited about technology. And then also, like, my nieces, they're 8 and 10, and they're like, they want to work in technology. And I see their enthusiasm when I'm showing them how to troubleshoot a laptop or how to fix their phone, or when I opened up a laptop to explain to them the components. Just the enthusiasm and excitement that they had in their face was just overwhelming to me. And I'm like, okay, this is what I need to be doing, is to try to get the focus more on the youth, to start there, to get them excited about technology, knowing that this is an option for them to go in.
Awesome. Awesome. So I think so far we've talked about all the really good stuff, like how beneficial the program was and how it's been great to work in IT. But I know there had to be some bumps along the way and some learning curves with all of you transitioning from different careers into a career in technology. So Tom, I'm starting with you. What was the hardest learning curve for you as you transitioned into a career in technology? And what resources did you use to help make that adjustment?
Yeah, I think the most difficult part was just being an innovator, right? Finding answers to questions where your colleagues or senior managers may not know, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think the biggest transition was to master the art of your Google Kung Fu, right? learn how to use Google. You learn how to use different sources of social media or technologies like Reddit. Reddit is a wonderful place to meet other people who are fascinated with technology, right? You're able to find answers for questions where it wouldn't be anywhere else. So mastering the art of researching and taking the time to explore how you find answers to different questions, because you run into many issues throughout the day, right? There's always a new issue, run from here, you're going to have one issue today, another issue tomorrow. So I would say mastering the art of researching and using Google to your advantage.
Okay. Yeah, I'm sure it's probably in technology, it's rare that your boss is like, I've never seen that before. And I'm sure that happens a ton in technology. So Googling and digging until you find the answer was the hardest learning curve.
Exactly.
Awesome. Shafie, I'm curious from your perspective as well, what was the hardest learning curve for you and what did you use to make those adjustments?
Hardest learning curve. Yeah, just like what Tom said, where if you got a question before going and asking leads or anyone that's like higher up than you, to just make sure that your research, you utilize all the resources that you have and kind of like research before you ask those kind of questions. And there was some, because you get in and you don't know anything, you're learning stuff and you're learning every day, right?
Yeah.
It's not something where you just everyone is a guru, right? We learn new stuff every day. That's how we grow, and that's how we so that was starting out, that was one of the learning curves that I went through, was that I had to what I thought I knew, there was more to it. And doing my research and actually seeing how most people who had more experience than I did, and just kind of seeing and learning and just shadowing, or kind of just asking questions, and also just doing my research in the back. So yeah, that's pretty much that's this learning curve that I went through.
Yeah, that's awesome. So I kind of want to talk about the learning curve for employers a little bit. So I moderate a ton of technology panels, and I can say this is the first panel where every technologist on it is like a Black, Indigenous, or person of color. Like, this is rare. So there's some value to working with programs like IT Ready and implementing this and bringing this to your organization. So Jillayne, for programs or for companies that want to have an IT Ready within their organization, like what tactics do you recommend for them to bring this within their hiring structure, how they plan the staff? Like, what's your advice for employers out there?
I think you gotta be on the lookout, right? Like, you have to be intentional about hiring for looking for programs like this. They don't tend to just fall in your lap. It's sort of did for us at CDI, but that's not, I don't think that's difficult. So yeah, I think you really have to be, I think that the biggest thing is we have to be intentional about it. So, did we lose Jade?
Awesome. Yeah, we lost Jade, but that's okay. Your audio is a little funny, Jillayne, as well. There's Jade.
Me, so I thought I'd just refresh and pop back in.
Yeah. Awesome. She just finished. Oh, keep going, Jillayne.
Is it better? My audio?
No.
I'll talk about it.
Yeah, sounds good. Jade, we do have a question if you want to pop that in now. Okay.
Yeah, awesome.
So Megan,
the chat.
Yeah, well, she was kind of interested in hearing about the program and how, because there's a variety of education experience, people coming in with different levels of computer experience, different levels of rigor, did the program tailor the teaching to different types of people at all? So I think it would be awesome to hear from some of the graduates about how your instructor did that. Anybody want to take that, Muhamed?
Yeah, I can take a shot at it. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, you're good.
Okay. So, I mean, that's a really good question. For me, I kind of was coming back. I kind of had somewhat of a background. I tried studying for the A+ exam prior to taking the IT Ready course. So I kind of had an idea, but a lot of my classmates in my program, some of them were coming from, very different backgrounds. Some of them didn't have any computer experience at all. But probably the greatest asset of the program are the instructors. The instructor I had was very helpful. He was very qualified, and he was very passionate about seeing us succeed and giving us the resources and the time. He would stay after a class to help people if they needed one-on-one, help on specific topics or concepts. We were given, official CompTIA materials, whether it's the Cert Master and other stuff like that, to help us at home, just in our personal study. And there was just the class itself. The students itself would come together and help each other. We were a family. We wanted to see everybody succeed, and if somebody struggled with the concept, no one was afraid to ask each other. And I think that's one of the strengths of this program when compared to other similar programs.
Awesome. We do have another question, but I'm wondering, Tom, do you want to speak to like how instructors or CompTIA sort of caters the course to multiple entry points and skill sets as well before we move on?
Yeah. Yes, definitely. So my instructor, basically first day of the class, was asked you, why are you here, right? Each individual, why are you here? And, the vast majority was like, I'm here to jumpstart my career in IT, right? And that was kind of like the nail in the coffin. Okay, we're all here for the same reason. We're going to get to where we're going to be together, right? I think that's the biggest thing. Like, we all come from different walks of life, right? And the biggest thing is, okay, we're here together, let's succeed together, right? And just being very personable with one another, asking great questions, because the different level of experience with technology was vastly different. And the biggest thing on just participating in the IT Ready program was just finding that niche, right? Why is technology interesting to you, right? Why are you taking this course? And that was kind of asking those questions like, hey, I love technology because of this, because of that. Let's do it together. Let's learn together.
So in some ways, everyone's shared why allowed everyone to move in the same direction, irrespective of the hard, like technical skill set. Love it.
Correct.
Okay. So
Jade, I just want to jump in to just preface you. This program, you don't have to come in with any experience. Like everybody has a vast array of experience. We really look for desire to be in tech and customer service background. So the soft skills are really important too. And so someone may come in with little technical experience, but have amazing soft skills. And each class is super diverse and super different, which is really awesome because we do look for diversity. So like Tom said, his class in general, Tom and Shafie's class really came together as a group and they were teaching each other. It's exactly what we look for because they all have different things they're better at. Some are better at interviewing than the technical side of things, and they just help each other and they lean on each other. So yeah, Tom, that was a great summarization of how your group
Yeah, that's a good I'm glad you added that, Kate. And just for context, folks on the call, Angela has a criminal justice background and interest. Tom came from finance, and Shafie and Muhamed have similar backgrounds in customer service and working with machines and warehouse stuff. So even on this panel alone, really wide difference in experiences, but they all made it through and are now working in technology. So it sounds like folks in the audience, our virtual audience, want some more real talk from you all. And they want to know what were some of the biggest challenges of participating in the program, whether it be scheduling or the technical component or money or anything else that you can think of. Let's start with Angela, and then Shafie will have you take that next.
For me, one of the challengings with the program was what I was saying earlier to my class. It was four women, and then two of them dropped out. So I had a limited amount of technology background. So I was very intimidated in reference to, can I do this? Do I have enough knowledge to complete the class and get my CompTIA certification? But I stuck through it. The instructor made it very welcoming. He was very approachable. He inspired me to continue to work as hard as I could. I tried to study as much as I can, did breakout study groups. I think the instructor helped ease some of my anxiety in reference to the course. So that's basically what it was for me, and some of the hurdles I had to overcome. It was more in myself, and being able to inspire myself and to motivate myself to continue through the program.
Awesome. Shafie, what say you on this one?
I think the big challenge that I went through when going through that program was trying to actually motivate myself to see that if I could go through that 8 weeks and actually get a certification or actually go through that exam, it was one of those when you're with your cohorts, right? From day one, as soon as you start the class, you see the class size is like a lot, and then from the last day of graduating, it shrinks down. But to those that you stay, to those study groups that you've made, those people that you've actually kind of motivate yourself within just trying to tell each other that we're going to go through this program, and then hopefully we're going to end up with jobs or grow or whatever it may be. So that was one challenge. The biggest. I remember just trying to keep that motivation just every day, just trying to get through that program. And it paid off really well. Yeah.
So I guess speaking of motivation, I'd love to think 4 or 5 years out for you all. So you all have started a career in technology, you got your foot in the door. Where do you want to go next in a technology career? And how has the IT Ready program and your entry role right now, your current position, how's that going to help you get there? And that's open to anyone. I'm curious of where you want to go from here with technology.
I guess, can I jump on that first?
Yeah, you can do it.
So, you know, I can say, you know, the job I'm working now is my first real career in IT. And, you know, I kind of had an idea. I was, you know, I was thinking about going into cybersecurity, but I didn't really know what cybersecurity was. You know, I kind of was just doing some basic research. But this position I'm working now has really exposed me to other teams in the IT department, and I've learned about positions that I didn't even know were in IT. So, you know, to answer that question, I think I'm still learning. I don't know, but you know, I know that I'm in the right field. So.
That's a good start. Yeah, definitely. So in some ways you're set because you are open to try anything at this point because you know you're in the right field. Any others? What do you want to be doing in technology, and how is this entry level role you're in right now going to help you get there?
For me, I actually have interest in cybersecurity as well. I was trying to look at a way to incorporate my criminal justice background with tech. And I had an opportunity to go to some cybersecurity seminars, and I realized I really, really want to do this. And through my job at Medtronic, they do give you an option to be able to shadow and work with the security team. And then also if you're interested in certifications, whether comptia security, comptia cybersecurity certs, they also help pay for your certifications. You're interested in advancing within that direction.
Awesome. So it sounds like employer support and really opting into the opportunities in front of you is what you're doing in order to continue climbing in the direction you want to go within technology. So Jillayne, I'm curious, can you add some color to folks listening who want to take that leap and start a career in technology? In light of like the experiences and the roles of people on this panel right now, what are options moving forward? Like what other things can people be doing after they get their foot in the door through a program like IT Ready?
Is my microphone working now? Is this better?
You're great. Yes. It's beautiful. Music to my ears.
Excellent. You know, I think when I look at how we do it at CDI, like Muhammad was saying, like a lot of people ask me a lot of times, like, what's my career path here? And I look at them, I go, what do you want it to be? Right? And because even some of my more advanced support teams, there's a lot of doors open. And the best thing, I think, at least, and I can't speak for other companies, but I know this is how we do it at CDI, is there's so much collaboration between teams that you can't help but learn from other people. It's impossible not to. If you're not learning from other people, you're probably not doing your job. So I think that is something that I look for more than anything is just, you know, and even in my own career now is I look at what do I need to know? What do I need to learn in order to advance to the next step? Who do I need to be collaborating with to gain more knowledge and more perspective on the work that we're doing? So.
Yeah. And I love, so in some ways, like you want to work in partnership with the person on their career mapping and get them where they want to be. Yeah. So I'm curious and I think in some ways, all of you can speak to this. So Jillayne, you may have some insight on the employer side. Kate, with you being embedded into the program and then also panelists, what role does CompTIA Career Academy play in the career mapping part. So of course you get the instruction, you learn the technical side, but how do you help people get in the chair? Because everyone wants the job, right? In some ways, the program is a means to an end to get to the job. What do you do to help people land that first role?
Sure, you want me to start that? Yes.
Yeah, that'd be great. And then we'll kind of hear from the panelists around their perspective.
They can jump in with stories about me. No, so yeah, I'm the career services manager. So I help each student find that first job out of the Minnesota program, and I work on some other markets as well. But yeah, my main goal and my job and what my metrics are based on is getting people jobs, but I also really care about it. I found myself in a technology career when I wasn't sure what to do with my life. And so I've always wanted to get in a career like this. And finding this job 3 years ago has been just a blessing. And really what I ask the students to really, that why is huge from day one. Why are you here? Why do you want to get in tech? And if you can't answer that, especially if you can't answer that outside of the money and the opportunity, we need to talk about that and figure that out. The big thing is too, like there's lots of jobs and there's lots of opportunities, but there's also a large pool looking at those entry level jobs. And our program really helps set our students apart because they come in with that legitimacy of maybe having previous alumni there, or, both Muhamed and Shafie were the first to be in their companies from our program. And are kind of trailblazers in that sense. But at the same time, their employers were aware of our alumni in our program longer than that as well. So we really find that just our focus on soft skills and professionalism is really the big thing that our employers are excited about. But I tell the students, I can't want it more than you. You got just as much as me, if not more. Because you have to be realistic, you have to take feedback. I'm a pretty straightforward, upfront person, so you usually know where you stand with me. To help coach people along the way, and I love doing it. So that's kind of how it's worked. And honestly, our students are in demand. We finish up these programs, and there are students with multiple job offers within a week or two of graduation. We introduce them to employers throughout the program as well, and coach them with interviews, resumes, LinkedIn, all those things, what to do when you get an offer, all that kind of stuff. So they are really, it's amazing. I always say we are really building confidence more than anything, because it's amazing to see all of these, I don't know Angela as well because she wasn't in a cohort when I wasn't in the company yet, but the other three, thinking of them day one to where they are now, and the program is so rewarding and amazing to see how much their confidence just grew. So yeah, I hope that answers the question, or if anybody else has thoughts on that.
No, Kate, I feel like you added to the "it's too good to be true" narrative, because there's just so much there, like the training, and then also all the things that you get from a support perspective to do the hardest part, which is landing the job. So that's awesome. So from the panelists, what are things that were impactful for you with the career mapping assistant? So whether it's working with Kate specifically or support from your cohort, what are things that were helpful for you along the journey? Let's start with Shafie to get the job. So beyond the training, what are the career assistance things that were helpful for you?
So like career assistance, so like kind of like going from day one to like a 3 month, 6 months, 9 months plan. Is that what you're trying to say?
Basically all the things that were helpful for you getting into your workplace now. So landing the internship and then landing the full-time job. What are things and being part of this program that helped you get there outside of the like learning the technical skill piece?
Right. Okay. Yeah. So definitely had to be the soft skills, especially whenever you're asking someone to give you an opportunity to shadow or see what others do, to kind of potentially see if that's an area that you want to maybe potentially hopefully kind of like work in.
Yeah.
So it's that would I would say that that was something that was more impactful for me.
Awesome. So being able to see what's out there
Right.
and kind of, yep, and
Oh,
do the actual thing.
yeah.
Awesome. So we have a few minutes left, and I'm curious for the panelists to kind of speak to maybe demystifying technology, because I would imagine there's a few people on this call who are curious, especially through how the questions are coming in, of like making that pivot into technology and leveraging a program like this program that you all did to make that transition. What are some of the things that you had assumptions about technology that you realized were different? And what are the things you had? I know someone mentioned like the program felt too good to be true. What are either myths that you want to dispel about the program or myths about working in technology? What are things that you can share with the audience? Tom, you made a face when I asked that question, so I'm going to start with you. What are some myths you want to dispel?
Yeah, so at a young age, I knew I loved working with computers, right? But then when I first landed my position with Tech Guru, first day is like, I've never seen this before. Like, you know, adding printers to the network via TCP/IP, and it's like, what is this? You know, what's an IP address? Stuff like that. It's like, okay, I put a computer together before, but I've never really explored how a computer actually works, right? Especially the administrative side of things, and just so much to learn and just not enough time. But then you kind of just pick and choose your battles, right? And I think honestly, the one biggest thing I take from the IT Ready program was that I don't think a lot of people may or may not, you know, take in for granted, but finding that mentorship, right? You know, I look at Kate as sort of like a mentor to me, right? I wanted to make her happy by doing the best I can in speed interviews, landing a job, and just trying to give back, honestly. That's the biggest thing. I just want to give back and be the best that I can be.
So Tom, what you're saying is you want to be a mentor.
I want to be, yeah.
So if you especially if you were in finance, you want to make the pivot, Tom is taking requests for mentorship. This is awesome. Okay, Angela, want to wrap up this question with you. What are some of the things that you either assumed about technology or you realized weren't true? Like, what myths can you dispel, especially for women out there who have curiosity but are a little apprehensive about making the leap? What are some things that you can dispel about a career in tech?
I guess for me, considering this a male-dominated field, that it's not difficult, it's not intimidating at all. A lot of people within the tech organization are there to help. You have a lot of mentors, a lot of programs to support you and guide you through your career if that's what you choose in tech. And tech is exciting. It's a lot of fun. It's the one field where every day is never the same. Every day you're learning something new. Every day is a challenge. And just if you're one of those people like excitement, you like troubleshooting, you like learning new things every day, tech is definitely the field to be in. And the CompTIA Academy will definitely guide you towards that direction.
Awesome. That's kind of a mic drop moment in some ways. Just to kind of reiterate what Angela was saying, careers in technology are so resilient. I mean, we've seen that so much with the pandemic thus far. Like, tech jobs are in high demand during a time where jobs aren't. So there's space for us. I guess we'll talk directly to BIPOC folks in general. Like, companies want you. You add a ton of value to the tech community and the tech space. Like, this program is a great way to make that pivot. And it sounds like the folks on this panel, we didn't pay them to say this. They found a ton of value out of it. They're in a role, they're successful, they're happy, all those things. So I do want to kind of get out of the way and ask folks who are listening, do you have any questions that you want to ask directly of someone on the panel or of Kate or Jillayne or of myself? What are questions that you all have? And we can kind of close it out there. I'll give the we're virtual 1 minute pause to give folks a chance to type or whatever. What questions do you all have for this group?
And I'll mention too, you can type them in the chat, or if you want to join us, we have a spot for somebody to jump on to ask a question live.
I would love that.
To do that.
Brave soul, someone do it.
To do that, you would click share video and audio, and then I would approve you to come in and ask your question if you are interested. Someone's got to do it.
As they're thinking about what their question is, my last question for the group, and this is kind of open to anyone, is what are your last thoughts? What are your closing, like last minute encouragement for folks who are either seeking to make the pivot, or what do you have to say to employers about folks who are trying to hire folks like yourselves? Like, what should they know? What are things you wish they knew? So think about that, and we'll wrap up with that question. Jillayne, question directly for you. Top 3 best traits of an IT ready grad. Love that question. You're on the hot seat.
I am in the hot seat. Oh man. You know, it actually sort of what I said earlier about what I'm looking for in an employee is somebody there. So we've hired at CDI, we've hired 2 people, Muhamed and one other from the program. And, you know, in both cases, I think, you know, these are people that are enthusiastic to learn, which is huge. They're curious. They're reliable too. I think that's one of the things that, you know, it's really, reliability is an underrated skill, I think, and that's something that I've seen from both Muhamed and Teresa, is that I can count on them to be doing their job when I need them to be doing their job, which seems like no big deal, but it's huge. So I don't know if I said 2 things, but
no, those were good. And I think you spoke something really great because they go through weeks of training where you have to be consistent. You have to show up. You have to be plugged in for hours a day trying to learn something specific. So in some ways they build that muscle of like showing up when you need them to. That's awesome. Another specific question for you, Jillayne. It's not my fault. You're in the hot seat here.
All right.
Have you noticed any skills or characteristics in IT ready grads that you aren't finding in other candidates? Really good question, Eric. Love that.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting because we've hired people with outside of IT ready that don't have a lot of the technical training. We've hired some people that have more technical training. And there's, you know, it's a little different on that spectrum. People who tend to have more technical training, I bring them in and I almost have to retrain them, right? I don't want to sound negative, but we have a lot of proprietary applications at CDI that, you know, we earlier talked about Google and, you know, doing Google searches to do your job. There are a lot of programs we use that Google will not help you, right? And so sometimes some of that technical training, people walk in and they go, I got it, I know how this works, but they don't always tend to have this the understanding that you have to lean on each other as well as the internet, right? And so that's something that I've really seen from the IT ready hires that we've got, is there are people that understand that you can't just lean on one thing to learn and be good at your job. You really have to sort of spread it out and use all your resources. So that's probably the biggest thing that I've seen that I don't see commonly in other candidates.
Is they have that sweet spot of know enough about technology, but also not too much to where you can't mold them to be a good fit for your organization, right, is what I'm hearing.
Right. That's exactly it. Yeah.
Awesome. Well, I think we're pretty much at time. Kate, are there things that you want to do to wrap up? I just want to say thank you to you all for sharing your story, sharing your passion, answering questions, being put in the hot seat, and giving folks the insight and information they need to make that pivot and to hire more folks like you all.
Yes, awesome. Yes, thank you, Jade and panel, for an awesome job. I just want to mention we have 2 minutes left. That we do have a pretty strict attendance policy, and that is because it is a very fast-paced program. Currently, we're 100% virtual, but hopefully next year we'll start having in-person classes again along with our virtual classes, but they're still required to adhere, and Angela's smiling because everybody has to deal with that crazy attendance policy, but it's really important. They're allowed 1 missed day and 2 lates in their 8-week full-time program for any reason. And sometimes people have very valid reasons, but they need to go deal with maybe issues that have come up, and they can always come back into our program. So just wanted to mention that a lot of our employers love to hear what that is. It's usually harder than your actual job in that sense. But yeah, no, thank you guys so much. I thought everyone did such an awesome job, and want to remind everyone again, CompTIA Tech Career Academy, I'm based here in Minneapolis, but we do have programs across the country. We are now doing fully virtual classes part-time that are basically open to anyone in the US. So even if you're not from Minnesota and are interested on this call, please check out CompTIA, CompTIA.org. Or I'm going to drop my LinkedIn and email in here as well. You can always reach out to me directly for if you're interested in applying, or if you're interested in somehow getting involved, or if you are interested in hiring the students. We'd love to hear from you too. We always are looking for more partners to help find the perfect job for each of our students. So I think we're at time. And yes, if you have any other questions, feel free to let us know. Some of us, I'm sure, will stick around, but otherwise, thank you again for attending, and we hope to see you all soon.
Bye, guys.
Bye, everyone.
It's always weird when it ends and you're still on camera.
Wow.
I'm dropping my info in here. If anybody has any other questions, I'm sure our panelists would love to hear from you as well if you want to find them on LinkedIn or any other way. Oh, thank you, Rob. So, or Bob. Bob put on here, interested in learning more about our CompTIA Tech Career Academy. He actually hosts the Technologist Talk podcast. So you can find that in Apple or Google. And we have tons of other CompTIA podcasts. So feel free to check that out. And Jade also dropped her LinkedIn. So if you are interested in learning more about getting involved in Minnesota Technology Association, it's a great organization that we are members of. Feel free to reach out to her as well. Yes, thank you, Bob, for dropping in that. But yeah, we'd love to hear from you. Any questions, thoughts you have. I am available for a few more minutes. I think all our panelists have dropped off, but Bob, you're good. Dropped another link. Talking tech training, why now is the time to consider launching a career in tech, or launching a tech career. That's our current podcast. It's very relevant to what we talked about today. So feel free to check it out. Looks like we have a couple more people still on. If you have questions or anything, feel free to share your video or ask. Now it's probably one. Is it just me and Bob? All right, well, I'm gonna head off, but thank you. Enjoy the other sessions for Startup Week, and hope to hear from everybody soon.